my dreams away tonight.
The shot was after the bell.
I dropped Lewis, I beat him up, and I was getting the knockout.
Look, that's not the way I want to win a fight.
I've got to be honest with you, I want to see it again.
Oh boy, this will be a doozy of a fight. Talked about this briefly on Friday in a video. Now, at the time, this was just reported as a bit of a rumour, but given the people who were reporting on it, I was thinking, okay, this probably will have some legs. This is, of course, Joseph Parker versus Fabio Wardley. The Ring magazine, amongst others, are reporting that it is close to being finalised, yes, for October the 25th. Before we talk about this, have a look there on screen. If you haven't already, please do consider hitting the like, in particular hitting that big subscribe button. You know, that big subscribe button. I've seen the 100k subscriber plaque. I've held it. It's made of wood. It's crazy. I would like to have one myself quite, well, in the near future. I was going to say quite soon, but in the near future will do. So if you could, it literally takes about 2 seconds to hit the like, hit subscribe. It doesn't cost a penny. It would mean the world to me if you could. I would appreciate it. Also, Wednesday, we haven't done a live, as in just the regular, you know, live for the subs, ask a few questions. I much prefer the lives, I really do, to, you know, just doing like a recorded Q&A and stuff like that. We haven't done a live that wasn't a watch along. Yikes, in God knows how long, a while. So that would be nice. It'd be nice to interact with a couple of you guys for an hour or so. Obviously, there's Addy's Live on Thursday, where I would hope to see a couple of you in person. Obviously, I'll be at that. I'll be there. I'll be on stage. It's crazy. But we'll do a live before it, just to get kind of in the mood. Just to get in the kind of mood. So it would help if you could come up with some subjects to talk about, because, you know, I want to talk about something that's relevant, you know, sort of way. Now, let's get into and briefly talk. Look, I've given my 2 cents on this already. I've touched on it. I've talked about it. Parker, for me, wins this fight. It's as simple as that. Joseph Parker beats Fabio Wardley if this fight happens next. And there's no real doubt in my mind. There's no real doubt in my mind. Parker is trained by Andy Lee. He's been trained by him for a few years now. Originally, when they started together, the first fight they had together was the Chisora fight. He looked a bit shaky, but it was very soon. He had only actually trained, I think, with Andy Lee for 6 weeks. So you can't really expect someone to gel with a trainer after only about 6 weeks. It just don't happen. It just doesn't happen. Since then, although he's tasted defeat to, who was it, Joe Joyce, Parker has still looked quite good. In fact, some would argue that this is probably the best kind of period of his career. Even though he was world champion, he didn't do an awful lot as world champion. He fought the likes of Rajvan Kijanu. That was a bit of a stinker of a fight. He fought the likes of Hughie Fury and that ultimately lost to Anthony Joshua. You would say this run of form he's on now is the best of his respective career. Contrast that to Fabio Wardley. And again, Joseph Parker turned pro very early, but he was an amateur. I don't recall him being a particularly decent amateur like that, but I'm sure he wasn't no slouch as an amateur, certainly not. Fabio Wardley, white collar background. White collar bouts can be two guys, one of them plays golf, one of them plays football, having a swinging match. That's basically, if you've seen white collar in some cases, it's no different than misfits. Just the only difference is you don't know the guys. Simple as that. To come from that background, again, I can't emphasize enough how impressive it is. To come from that background, to be as polished as he is, to be world ranked, interim champion actually with the WBA, to do that and not have tasted defeat, to improve the way he has, when you consider the fact that his most recent performance, and he's done it to other people as well, like Nathan Gorman, but he beat Justice Hooney barely, but he beat him. You know, he had to pull it out of the bag with one shot. But to beat the likes of Justice Hooney, to beat the likes of Nathan Gorman, all of whom have way more experience in the amateurs, all of whom were probably much more highly touted, quite frankly. I mean, I know Nathan Gorman at one stage, hard to believe now, but he was. A lot of people saw him as being maybe a better shout as a prospect than Daniel Dubois back in the day. I know when they fought in the O2 all those years ago, there was a lot of people feeling Nathan Gorman had the beating of Daniel Dubois, that he looked more impressive. And you know, again, you know, with the benefit of hindsight, you'd say, whoa, I wasn't one of them, by the way, thank God. I was thinking Dubois was winning that fight pretty handily. But you get what I mean. He's beaten guys who are more accomplished amateurs. It hasn't counted for anything. Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark, of course, Olympic bronze. Did he win bronze in the Olympics? Or he was certainly an Olympian. So you get what I mean. So he's used to fighting guys who are more technically proficient than he is, who better amateur. I mean, that goes without saying. If you had Anthony Yarde had a better amateur career, that says it all, really. but he's been able to improve greatly. Managed by Dylan White, I think he is still. Trained by Ben Davison, you always see improvements out of him, and I like it. I like what I'm seeing from Wardley. I just think if you're struggling with Justice Hooney, and no disrespect to Justice Hooney, he's a good fighter, but Joseph Parker is better in pretty much probably is better in pretty much every department. He's a great outside boxer, he's fast hands, he's a decent mover, he's got good defense, reasonably good chin, very respectable power. I just can't see how Fabio Wardley pulls this one out. I really can't. It's a great fight though from the outside looking in, because yeah, Parker could be in a few stinkers, and he has been. Fabio Wardley is never in a stinker. When have you ever seen him in a boring fight? Never. Even the Justice Hooney fight, it was entertaining while it was going on, and then he pulled that one punch knockout. So Wardley's not known for being in boring fights. I think that he'll bring something out of Joseph Parker. I think he'll make Parker work. I think that Parker will have things to think about. You know, he's not going to want to do what Justice Hooney did and end up getting clipped and knocked out by Fabio Wardley. Certainly not. So I think he'll have a lot to think about. But ultimately, I can just see this fight going one way, which is a Parker, probably a wide unanimous points decision. Maybe a late stoppage, maybe a stoppage at some point. The reason why I say stoppage is because although Wardley has never shown any real vulnerability, really, has he really? I don't really think he's ever really been. Maybe against Eric Molina early on, he maybe was buzzed a little bit, but Molina is just, I mean, Eric Molina has literally no heart. Like, he is one of the most heartless fighters in terms of will for battle I've ever seen. The only time he ever showed heart was against Wilder. That's it. Every other time it's just been, where's the canvas, where's the place to lie down, I'll take it. Even against fights he should be beaten. That's the one time I can remember him being slightly stunned. But other than that, he's shown no fragility in the punch department, or in the punch resistance department. Parker, I think, hits hard enough. I think put it like this, I think he's a bigger puncher than Justice Hooney. Is he a bigger puncher than Adelie? Jury's out, but Adelie never caught him. But I think Parker will. And that's going to be interesting to see what happens. That big right hand that he landed on Martin Bacoli, if he lands on Fabio Wardley, what might happen? So, interesting fight from the outside looking in. I would imagine this would be a standard Queensbury show, which is brilliant. I mean, again, I don't know, but I would imagine it would be on a standard Queensbury show, which again, O2 Arena, Queensbury, I'm all in. I'll watch it. It's going to be good fun. Happy to, I hope to God that's what happens. I really, truly do. I hope to God that's what happens. In terms of, as I said, who I think will win, Parker every day of the week, that doesn't mean if Fabio Wardley loses that he's all of a sudden the terrible fighter. It doesn't mean if Joseph Parker loses that that's the end. I think that it's an interesting fight for both guys. Both guys can come back from it. It's not the end of the world if either guy loses. And the winner, it's activity, if nothing else. If Fabio Wardley wins, then he's mandated to fight Usyk. If Parker wins, well, then he's got two cracks out. Well, think about it like this, he's mandatory then with two sanctioned bodies because it's a WBA and WBO unification of the interim titles. So there's really no hiding then. You know, there's really no getting around it. You got to fight Parker next. So I'm happy for this fight. If in fact it does take place, which it looks likely that it will. Ample time. You've got over 6 weeks to get the preparation done. Yep, good to go. So those are my thoughts on this fight. Let me know yours in the comments section below. Like I said, 2025 has been a good year for boxing. That fight right there, I really do truly like it. It's a good fight. It's, you know, Parker from New Zealand, but he's been based in the UK for years, been fighting in the UK for years. Fabio Wardley, the Ipswich boy, did Portman Road last time. It's probably the only thing Ipswich Town fans, not having a go at you, but judging by how you started this season, he's probably the only thing you have to cheer for, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm all for this fight. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. People, hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, smash the like button, hit subscribe. Peace.